All right, so we can't talk about rhythm guitar of really any style without talking about strumming. So strumming is something that, sounds really basic and straightforward, but it's actually a very complex and wide-ranging subject. And I've actually run into a lot of guitar players who really can only play one style of strumming, and that's downstrokes. So that's probably like the most basic form of strumming you can possibly do, is just a simple downstroke. And you can actually get by largely playing just downstrokes. So a basic downstroke is represented on a tab by a down arrow in this case, or sometimes you'll see a symbol like this. And that just basically indicates a downward motion with your picking hand, or your strumming hand in this case. And of course, that can be played over any chord. And then, of course, an upstroke is going to be represented by an up arrow. And upstrokes are where you're moving your picking hand or your strumming hand from the downward position to the upward position. An upstroke, by definition on guitar, is actually going to move from the high register to the low register. And a downstroke is going to move from the low register to the high register. So you're going to have two distinct different sounds being created by upstrokes and downstrokes. And the idea with, kind of solid bluegrass rhythm playing, or really any style of rhythm playing, is to combine downstrokes and upstrokes into a cohesive style of rhythm. Okay, so that was an example of playing the three most common chords that we just learned, the G, the C, and the D, and that really demonstrates bluegrass strumming in a nutshell. And just those three chords alone will get you almost halfway there. Now let's talk about how to actually strum these chords and how to make it sound like we're playing bluegrass rhythm guitar. So in bluegrass rhythm guitar playing, you're heavily emphasizing the downstrokes with your strumming. That's not to say you're playing all downstrokes. You're going to be playing downstrokes and upstrokes. So that downstroke sound on the upper register is what's called the chuck, and it actually sounds like a chuck, which makes sense, right? That's why it's called that. And that's really crucial to kind of keeping time. And as the guitar player in a bluegrass band, your primary role is to keep time and to be the rhythm section and keep rhythm. So the way we do that is we play downstrokes on the upper register of whatever chord you're playing. So in a bluegrass ensemble, the chuck can be played by really any instrument, whether it's the guitar, the mandolin, or even the fiddle. They can all be playing that kind of chuck, and that chuck, 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 dum, chuck, chuck, dum, chuck, dum, chuck, the chuck that we were talking about, right? Like that downstroke sound that you, as the rhythm player, as a guitar player or a mandolin player, it's really important in bluegrass music to create that kind of a sound to give it a little bit of a backbeat and to give the song some groove and some feel. And a good way to think about how to achieve that is to think about something that I like to call fretboard splitting. So fretboard splitting is just an idea of splitting the fretboard into two sections down horizontally down the neck. So if you think about the lower register of the guitar, the E, the A, and the D string, as being kind of one section, and then the upper register, right, the G, the B, and the E, as being kind of the higher register of the strings that you can strum. And the idea is that you take those two areas and you create interest by alternating between the two in different ways. So, for example, what I was just playing in the intro there, that's how you kind of create that chuck sound, because to chuck, you need something on the offbeat as well. You know, it has to be, the chuck has to be on the downbeat on like the quarter note, and then in between the quarter notes, the eighth notes, you're going to strum kind of the lower register of the guitar. And that's kind of a good way to think about, you know, how to approach that kind of bluegrass strumming, that bluegrass rhythm sound. And so what you want to do in bluegrass, especially with rhythm playing, is you want to create kind of a boom chuck type of feel. So one way of thinking about that is the boom part of that is going to be the lower part of your guitar. And that's going to correspond with kind of the bass player, right, on the backbeat. And the chuck is going to be played on kind of the higher register of your guitar. And what you're left with is kind of a boom chuck type of feel. And if we just play a G chord, you can kind of see how that works. And you can see I'm just going back and forth on downstrokes, playing the lower register first, and then the higher register second. And of course, you don't have to just play downstrokes there. You can add in some upstrokes using that same kind of split fretboard concept. You can also add in some upstroke accents as well. So there I was doing a down, up, down. So I was playing a down and an up on the lower register and then a down on the higher register. Or you could play a down on the lower register and a down up on the high register. And you can combine those different techniques and you can actually create patterns. And that's something I like to call rhythm patterning. And rhythm patterning is really just a broad concept, an idea that you can use and you can take into your rhythm playing. So when I say rhythm patterning, what I mean is, you know, creating patterns and repeating phrases in your rhythm playing using upstrokes and downstrokes, and then also using the fretboard splitting concept so you have those kind of two areas to play off of. And that gives you a lot of possibilities for different patterns that you can create. So what I like to do is when I create a rhythm pattern on the fly, you just pick a combination of rhythmic elements that you like for that particular tune, and then you repeat it. So you really want to stick to that pattern, at least for that phrase or for that bar or for that measure or for that solo or whatever it happens to be. You know, you really want to try to stick to that pattern. It gives you a way to keep time and keep tempo without having to really think about it. So you're kind of using your muscle memory to keep tempo in that way. And the way you're doing that is by making sure that the phrases, right, the pattern that you're creating, making sure that those subdivisions are very even and that you're not rushing to the next phrase too soon, or you're not, you know, dragging the rhythm and holding it back or something like that. So, you know, the focus with all of this and really the point of all of these techniques of rhythm patterning and fretboard splitting, the goal and the objective is to really to give you a way to keep time and keep tempo really solidly and really consistently. Thanks for checking out this lesson today. This is a preview of a course that I'm really, really excited about that I just released, and I'm super excited about it because it's the first full-length course that I've ever produced, and it's on bluegrass rhythm guitar. And this course has been over a year in the making, and I really wanted to include as much information in it as I can about the things that I've learned in my professional music career playing rhythm guitar. So head on over to my website, brandonjohnsonguitar.com, and sign up for the membership, which gives you access to all of my lessons, including my Bluegrass Rhythm Guitar course. So head on over to the website to check it out, and we'll see you there.